Glenn Greenwald, who's something of a nemesis of yours, who writes for The Intercept and was integral in Edward Snowden's exposure of some of these programs, this is what he wrote overnight. The very first NSA program we revealed from Snowden documents, the mass domestic spying program of Americans' phone records, which James Clapper lied about and Obama insisted was vital to national security, has been shut down. We have you here, so we'd like your reaction to that.
Well, the original thought behind this, and this program was put in place as a direct result of 9/11. And the point was to be able to track quickly a foreign communicant talking to somebody in this country who may have been plotting a terrorist plot, and was put in place during the Bush administration for that reason. I always regarded it as kind of a safeguard or insurance policy so that if the need came up, you'd have this to refer to. An example of that was after the Boston Marathon bombing, there was concern and a suspicion at the time that there may have been a broader intent to attack, particularly in New York City. That turned out not to be the case. So I think the big lesson here was, a need for more transparency. Now, I can't comment on whether, to the extent to which, NSA has actually used this since the USA Freedom Act, which was enacted in 2015 to replace the Patriot Act, 215, was intended to move that to, instead of NSA storing this metadata, it would be stored at the providers, and NSA could ask the providers. So I can't comment on whether or not it's been used or not. At some point, you'd want to have that capability, though, if you ever had another plot involving plotters in the United States with plotters overseas.
One of the things.
There's the comment about the allegation about my lying. I didn't lie. I made a big mistake, and I just simply didn't understand what I was being asked about.
If you could give me a yes or no answer to the question, does the NSA collect any type of data at all on millions or hundreds of millions of Americans?
No, sir.
It does not.
Not wittingly. There are cases where they could inadvertently, perhaps, collect, but not wittingly.
All right.
I thought of another surveillance program, Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. When I was being asked about Section 215 of the Patriot Act at the time, I just didn't understand that.
One of the things that's noted in the New York Times article, which broke this story overnight, was that it suggests that no terrorist attacks have been stopped or terrorists caught as a result of this program. If that is the case, does that indicate that it might not be necessary?
Well, that's true, and I think probably at the time, contemporaneously, back 2013 or so, when all this broke, that we may have oversold it a bit because, we were hard-pressed to point out to a specific case in point. What this was just trying to capitalize on the lesson learned from 9/11. I will say that, and I've said this publicly many times before, that what this did prove is the need for the intelligence community to have been more transparent. I'm convinced had this been explained contemporaneously at the time it was introduced, that it would have been accepted by the public and probably wouldn't have caused any more anxiety than the fact that the FBI maintains hundreds of millions of fingerprint files on innocent Americans. But people know it, know about it, know why, and know how it's used, and it is